Hey guys, welcome to a new episode. Today we have a very special episode for you guys. It's May, and in May it's Mental Health Awareness Month. And because of that, while Dave was away, I had the opportunity to speak with a doctor and a representative that works with that doctor about mental health, some options that they have for you in case you're struggling. If you have anxiety, depression, PTSD, addictions, you're being bullied, whatever the case is, and you're having a hard time, there are options out there. And if you are in a crisis mode, please call or text 988. They will help you immediately. Somebody is always there to help you. It is a passion of mine, though. Mental health is a big issue. Suicides, depression, all of that is scary to talk about. And I'm going to give you a disclaimer now that the conversations that we have during this episode do contain some of that. So I want to give you a heads up before you go in. If you're not comfortable with that, please don't watch the show, or if you need the help and there's other options, we talk about a couple of these options on the show, please follow up. And I have in the descriptions, I have contact information for the representatives that we have on the show as well. So if you can, please be safe. If you know somebody or yourself, please reach out for help. Dave, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I was away, but I was able to watch this when I got back. And you can tell it's a passion project of yours. It was a fantastic episode. I'm glad you did it. I know you were a little nervous, getting ready to do this thing, but I think you pulled it off well, especially because this is outside our box or outside our realm of what we would do. So,
correct.
100% you pulled it off. And, congratulations. And I hope everybody, learned something from the episode.
I appreciate it. If you or somebody else needs help, please reach out to the hotline or in the descriptions, like I said. And then next week, we'll be back to our regular programming with jokes and laughs. But until then, please take care of yourselves and each other. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of Shooting It Straight with Donnie C. I am your host, Donnie C. And today is going to be different than every other podcast we've done so far, but I think it's something that everybody needs to know and talk about. We're going to shift gears a little bit because in May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I want to make sure that everybody is aware of their own mental health, the mental health around them, and everything that goes along with it. Now we're going to touch on some touchy subjects, so we are going to talk about depressions and suicides and coping with that and things of that nature and how to work through that. And if you haven't struggled with it or you don't know somebody who struggled with it, most likely you do, and you just don't know that they struggled. Most of the people, not most, but a lot of people try and hide it and cover it up and protect themselves by protecting you. This way you don't know how hard their life is for them right now. With that being said, we're going to talk about, is therapy the answer? Is there better treatments than therapy? Is there more than just therapy? And I, for one, believe that there is. And I brought two very special guests along with us to dive into this a little bit more, because a lot of people go to drinking. A lot of people go to drugs or alcohol and just go, I'm going to stick with this because this is what's easy to get and this is what works for me and everything else. But really, all you're doing is destroying yourself in the end, whether it's legal or illegal drugs, or they're doing self-harm, and nobody's benefiting from that, including themselves. So with me, one of my special guests is a doctor, Dr. Sandy from InLIGHTen Wellness. She's going to be joining us, and she basically changed the world of this, for me at least. This way I understand it better. I'm going to bring her on right now. This way we can talk about it, and then you can understand a little bit more about how she shook the world with it just not being therapy. Hi, Dr. Sandy. How are you?
Hello. I'm so good. How are you, Donnie?
I'm doing well, doing well. I want to thank you first for coming on and spreading your knowledge, because I don't want to be misspoken or say anything that I shouldn't say. So first and foremost, thank you for coming on such a big topic and something that's so important and near and dear to my life and yours as well. So basically what this is you're the founder, and I'm going to get your mission statement correctly because I wrote this one down, so bear with me. I'm going to read it to you. To help you recognize, appreciate, and release all that is keeping you from living in the light of your true essence. So you're the founder of InLIGHTen Wellness. What does that mean for the people who don't know?
Yes. So InLIGHTen Wellness is a holistic ketamine healing center that I have created based on my background of being an ER physician for 15 years. Lived in drama, trauma, and chaos for that long of a period of time. I was medical director, trauma liaison, so very embedded in that. Then I found ketamine and other psychedelic medicines and started doing my own deep healing work. And in that healing myself, I recognized there was a better way to help people heal. And so 3 years ago, I opened InLIGHTen Wellness so that I could help people heal utilizing ketamine therapy to really get to the root of what causes anxiety, depression, PTSD, addiction, all the things that cause us to stray far away from who we truly are. We're trying to bring back home to ourselves the light of our true essence is who we truly are at our core. And that's what my goal is, to help people find themselves again.
Now, a lot of people hear ketamine and right away, red flags for them go up. Oh my God, ketamine, ketamine, ketamine.
Totally. Yes.
Can you just blow the whole thing out of the water and let them know that this is okay?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Matthew Perry did not die from ketamine. He died because he drowned because he was taking ketamine and other medicines in a hot tub by himself inappropriately. Right. So let's just lay that one out there.
Right.
So ketamine actually was created as an anesthetic to use in the operating room and the emergency department for procedures, because it's a beautiful anesthetic at pretty high doses. You are still breathing, your heart rate and blood pressure still stay fine, but you don't remember anything, you don't feel anything, and you get to have your procedure safely and come out of it on the other side. But they were finding that at lower doses, it was creating a psychedelic-like journey where you actually get to heal past traumas, you get to heal depression, PTSD. And so it's beautiful in that way. And what it's doing is it's actually creating new brain cells. Who doesn't want new brain cells? I mean, sign me up, right?
Yeah, me too. Me and you both.
Yeah. And then we're also creating connections between brain cells that weren't talking before. So what that means is we actually get new ways of thinking. We get new perspectives. So instead of doing the same thing we've done every day for, 20 years or more, we're like, oh, wait, I have this as a thought. I can have this as a thought rather than this ruminating, repetitive, obsessive thought pattern I've been having. So that's kind of how biochemically ketamine is working in our brain to help us heal.
All right. And for all the skeptics out there also are like, oh, there's got to be enormous side effects and adverse effects, and it's going to be terrible. And it's really not.
No, it is not the safest medicines that you can take. Literally, we used it in the ER on babies and old people because it was so safe. We used it on trauma patients because they were super sick, right? And so that's the beauty of ketamine. Really few side effects. During the medicine, after the treatment, you might be a little nauseated, you might throw up, you're going to be a little goofy, you're going to feel a little off balance, maybe you get a headache, but again, you're not going to stop breathing, your blood pressure is going to stay fine, and there's no long-term side effects unless you're using it like Matthew Perry was, and then there's some side effects.
Yeah, right, obviously. Yeah, anything in moderation, people. Moderation is key.
And under the guidance of a professional.
That's correct. That's correct. Don't go, oh, well, I heard this podcast, I'm going to try it and hang out with your buddies and try. That's not going to work. Yeah. You're doing more harm than good. Trust us.
Exactly.
As far as treatments go, the length of a treatment can range an hour to 2 hours on normal. But what length of time, and everybody's different, I know this, but is there a length of time that you usually say, okay, this is going to be X amount or Y, or is there any kind of system or like parameter that you guys have?
Yeah, absolutely. So typically, and the studies kind of back this up too, is that most people are going to really benefit the most from 6 treatments up front. We in the office, the way we do it is we do intramuscular injections. So you get a shot in the arm. You can also do it IV, and a lot of places do it that way. The way we do it is going to be short. It's going to be less clinical, right? So you don't have an IV stuck in your arm. You're not tied to a IV pole. You don't have monitors beeping and blood pressure cuffs going off. You get a shot, then you're free to move about the cabin. It lasts about 30 minutes. And often we're going to do a second shot so that it lasts another 30 minutes and you're in the medicine experience for about an hour.
Right.
Now, we got to prepare you and talk a little bit beforehand. That's about half an hour. And then you got to recover. So that's about another half hour. So it's about 2 hours in the office on your medicine day.
Okay.
Now, we also like to spread our treatments over a week. So once a week is about enough time for you to process what comes up in one of your sessions so that you're then ready in another week to process some more stuff. A lot of places do it where they squeeze 2 or 3 in a week. That's not enough time to really process all the emotions and maybe the memories and some of the traumas that have come up. You need time and you need space to really sit with all of that. So it's about 6 to 8 weeks. You do your first series of 6, and then we go from there. Do you need more down the road? Every now and then, maybe you need to come back. Maybe you're good for a few months. Maybe you just need one booster. Maybe you need a few. It depends on what's happening in your life and how you're navigating and how many layers of trauma you've been able to peel off in those first 6 sessions.
Okay. Now, also with these treatments, a lot of times they'll suggest, or you mix in with the TMS, which is, I'm going to make sure I say it right, Transcranial Magnetic Stimulation.
Yeah.
I wrote it down too because I don't want to screw this up because I'm trying. Now, basically what that is, it's a magnetic coil. It's not invasive, and it's a magnetic coil that kind of reprograms your brain also. And a lot of times that and that work hand in hand to reprogram your brain, where all the negative thoughts and energy that you had, they kind of beat it up, if you will. They explain it like if you're doing a workout, you want to do a couple reps, but if you do too many reps and too many sets all at the same time, you're not actually helping your muscles, you're actually hurting them. And they do the same thing with the magnetic impulses in your brain so that it actually diminishes the negative thoughts and actually helps stimulate the positive, and it starts to reprogram your brain also that way, like you said with the ketamine, where it produces more brain cells and helps you with that. Then you add this to it, and now you're double downing on this for greater recovery.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we like to think as you're creating these new neural networks in your brain and these new neurons and new connections, then the TMS can help you nourish those new pathways, right? So that they become stronger. And so that, again, those not so helpful ones may, atrophy a little bit, and the others will begin their new muscles, right? Stronger muscles in that way, for sure.
Now, with this, you also have therapy sessions where you communicate, like you said, this way. You're not doing the journey alone. You're with a trained professional. So the journey that you're on while you're in there, in the rooms and everything else, which the rooms are also set up for the person. So you get to pick and choose what room you like. You have multiple rooms. Your journey is your journey, and you're kind of self-guiding it, but you're there to help support that journey. Yeah. And you also have therapy sessions where you talk to the persons that you're speaking with and dealing with, and you're helping them like a therapist would also. So everybody in the old days used to say, you have depression, you have suicide, go talk to somebody, it's a therapist. Go to talk to a therapist, go talk to a therapist. You are doing not just the therapy, but you're doing the ketamine, and then with the TMS, it's a whole new world for a lot of people. And it's amazing that you guys can do this. So personally, thank you for all that you do for everybody in the world and just trying to make it a better place, because that's why I started doing this podcast also, to make people smile and laugh. So no matter how bad their day is, hopefully for at least a half hour in a week, they forget about everything and they can laugh and smile and be an idiot with me. But this one's a little bit different. So don't be an idiot today, please. But
no, it's really beautiful the way that we do it is, yes, we're in the room with you the whole time, because as you can imagine, a psychedelic journey, if you've never had one, is really kind of scary and different. Yeah. So to be alone in that would be very challenging. So we're here to hold your hand, to support you through it, to guide you if you need that. And yes, we are coaching you. So again, you're going into a psychedelic journey where things are happening where you've never been before. I have been there. I know how to guide you through this before and after your session. So I'm going to help you take the insights that you're getting in the journey and using those so that you can navigate your life differently. Because life is going to continue to happen.
Yeah.
Bad things are going to happen. How can I navigate through those with less stress, less anxiety, and less depression so that I can live life a little more peacefully? That is how we do. Our coaching is a little different than therapy. We're also really going to encourage you to navigate into those uncomfortable places, the places you've been trying to avoid most of your life.
Yeah.
Exactly where we're going to go with you so that we can help you uncover what is underneath those and help you really heal those instead of just try to keep avoiding them, because they're not going away. They're going to stay there.
No,
right?
You can't put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound and expect it to be all better. You actually have to dig in and find out what's underlining everything and what the core situation is and the core mental challenges that you're having, so you're able to unpack that so that you can move past it. Otherwise, you're just carrying it like luggage for the rest of your life, and it's never going to go away. You're never going to get better, no matter how much you fool yourself or trick yourself. You have to work through it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And our next guest, who did the series with you, which your show is coming out on Amazon Prime.
Yep.
It's The Journey Home. And he's also in this, and I'm going to bring him up right now. With us is also Chad from Mental Health. Chad, how are you today?
I'm good, Donnie. How are you, buddy?
Doing well, doing well. So thank you for coming on also. I do appreciate it. And you are the actual reason how I found Sandy, and we were able to collab all together. This way we can make this possible and make this all happen and kind of save the world one person at a time, if you will. And I want to say thank you not only for that, but also for your military background. Thank you for serving and protecting our country. I do appreciate that. And that goes a lot of times without people saying it or really appreciating it. So it goes above and beyond for us. So thank you very much. And you started a Mental Joe, and you said because every Joe, you started with the name because it's like every Joe, correct? Could you dig into a little bit with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we, through my ketamine journey and kind of experience, and we can dive a little bit deeper into this as the conversation unfolds. I kind of had this this vision, as you will, of, creating an apparel company. And I had no idea what I was doing. I was in real estate for 20 years, corporate real estate. But going through this process, what I realized is there was kind of a gap there. And your average Joes to your GI Joes, we have no idea this stuff even exists, right? It's real fringe stuff. We don't want to talk about mental health. We don't want to talk about psychedelics. Like,
it's all taboo.
It's all taboo. And so for me, it was like, how do we reach as many people as possible, and let people know that these things are okay, right? We got to do them in the right setting. You have the right professionals there. And so we do it through apparel. You got two things I'm wearing right now: our mushroom grenade hat, my AC/DC MDMA shirt. It creates a conversation for people to pause and stop you and say, hey, what is that?
Right.
And anybody that's worn our apparel, it's done just that. It's created a conversation. And so instead of, hey, we all live in Arizona, it's 110 and let's have small talk. Instead, how are you? And not just how are you, really, how are you? Right. So that's kind of the mission behind Mental Joes, to help out the average Joes to the GI Joes, one T-shirt at a time.
I have a couple of them. I'm going to bring them up while you're talking.
Yeah.
This way people can see some of the other styles that you have going. So you can continue. I just thought it would.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, we try to. We're trying to branch out to hit all audiences. Like I said, this is it's a lot of taboo stuff. That's Marcus McGee there. He's as the shirt you got on there.
That's right. I'm one of them too.
That's right. Yep. He's number 13. In the bantamweight division, the UFC. That's right. So I just try to live by example, right? My story was 5 years ago. I almost took my life next month. So it was 5 years ago for me. And sadly, like a lot of veterans and a lot of just average Joes out there, we're hiding behind the pill bottle, or we're hiding behind the handle of JD, and we just don't know how to deal with our emotions. Because we're told not to, right? You're supposed to put those in a box, shut up, and just drive on with.
Be a man.
Yeah. So I was close, man. I was almost 300 pounds. I was popping pills left and right. I was a pretty miserable human being. So for this stuff, it's just I can't preach it as loud as I can, right? I want people to know about this stuff. Everyone's on their own journey as far as, you know, the healing and when they're going to dive in. But I like to be that fork in the road for people, you know, be enough.
That's great.
Yeah. Be loud enough to where people can go, okay, like, I'm curious, maybe I'll go do my own research and start diving into this stuff. So that's kind of where we're at with Mental Joe and how that kind of came to fruition through this process.
Okay. Well, also, I want people to know that your mission statement is to spark conversation, inspire hope and conversations, and provide funds and resources to those who suffer from mental health issues and those who support them. So it's not just about helping you or helping get the word out. You're also giving back to the community who needs help also, which I think is an amazing concept, because everybody needs help at one point or another, whether they want to admit it or not. And I mean, I know it, you know, we all know it, but a lot of people, especially at our age, we grew up in a time where you weren't supposed to have emotions. They were stupid. Emotion, you don't need emotions. They get in the way of everything. And you just, anything that happens, you just kind of push down, until you explode, or you're popping pills, or you're drinking, or you're doing something, self-harming, you're doing something. And the fact that you are bringing conversation to it and talking about these hard subjects and being open about your journey, which is amazing, because opening a conversation like that allows other people to feel more comfortable, like, oh, I feel that too, and it's okay to say something now. So because of your bravery and you reaching out, and Sandy helping through all this and everything, it's amazing how the community itself is growing stronger and bigger, because I've never heard about this a couple years ago. And then after meeting you, Chad, and then meeting you, Sandy, and I see it more often, I hear it more often, and it's a different world. And it's because of people like you who are changing that, and our viewers who, if you need the help, if you reach out, there's avenues. It's not just therapy. You don't need to just go to therapy anymore. There's other avenues that you can take to get better and feel more alive or more like yourself. Your thing is conquer the battle within, Chad. That's one of your shirts, one of your sayings, and it's very true. We're our worst enemies.
Yeah, I was my worst enemy for 20 plus years, right? Everything I would do, I looked when I failed at something, right? I'm a loser. I'm no good. I'm not worth love. When really failure is a learning lesson, right? But yeah, I didn't grow up with the emotional intelligence to realize that failing is part of life and it's okay. I grew up where if you failed, you got beat, right? So that was in my subconscious of like, man, if I screw up, man, there's going to be some gnarly consequences coming around the corner. Right. And so for me, just owning, you know, I like to say owning my shit, right? And I'm still going through it. And, you know, there's a lot of stuff I've addressed, but for me, it's just showing up every day and trying to live that standard. Because, you know, on average, you know, we probably send someone at least once a week, if not once every 2 weeks, to Sandy as a referral, you know, and that's just a massive ripple effect, right? I'm close with a lot of firefighters, and a lot of them are at the football fields that are coaches for my son's football team. And so they kind of knew what Carrie and I were doing, right? And they would kind of look at us sideways, like these knuckleheads, right? Well, one of the gentlemen actually just went through and he's had some profound experiences and changes. And because these gentlemen have seen him at the firehouse and how he's leading by example and how he's talking about this stuff, now there's 5 other dudes in line that they all talk to me, but they didn't want to believe me, which is fine. Exactly. I'm okay with that. Yeah. But what I see with that is those are 5, then they're going to create a ripple effect. Correct. And it just creates healing on a massive scale. Yeah. And that's amazing that it's people don't realize that 1 grain of sand, it builds the beach. And it's as simple as speaking about it, healing from it, and being able to move on from it and helping others in your journey. And that's part of what the journey home is about. If you want to talk about that for a minute, Sandy. And while you're doing that, I'm going to put the crisis. If anybody's ever in trouble or looking for help, there's always a crisis hotline. Text or call 988, and there'll always be somebody there to help you get through something that you're not able to get through on your own at the moment. But with the series that's coming out on Amazon Prime, can you dig in a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So my idea and my intention was to bring awareness to the challenges that we all face. And by telling different stories so that everyone who watches this, there will be someone in this that you may resonate with. You'll be like, wow, I've struggled with that too. You mean there's help for me? Like I can get help. So it's really showing 6 clients going through their healing journey from, kind of beginning to where they are now. Right. And it's really showing, it's just being an invitation to be like, hey, look what I've been through. I went through some really deep stuff, and through the help of ketamine and the guidance of Sandy and her team, like I actually have been able to live my life differently and transform who I am and live life with more peace, with more joy, and unload a lot of stuff that I've been carrying that I don't need to carry anymore. So, and it's really trying to also dispel the myths around ketamine and psychedelics and healing, and, just really being that human invitation to open up to someone and to heal.
Right.
That's really what it is. And Chad graciously accepted my invitation to be on this series and to tell his story and to go through some really uncomfortable, heavy stuff and talk about some things that are really challenging and emotional. And, there's 6 of them doing that. And I'm just really honored for all of them to share their story so that everyone can have an invitation to heal.
Yeah, that's amazing. It's a very brave thing to do also, Chad, because digging in on your own. And I can speak as a man, just saying, okay, I have some stuff. I've got some shit I got to deal with. And then being able to go through it and then go, you know what? I think I can let everybody in and see all this from the inside out. It's very brave, very courageous. And I'm hoping it does what I expect it to do, which is reach out to so many people and change their lives. So thank you. Thank you for that. And that's really honorable. So I appreciate you doing that. And Sandy, I appreciate you even coming up with the idea of doing this, because that in itself also opens up the door for so many more people to see it.
Yeah.
And as soon as you get a promo and everything up, please send it to us. I will put it out on all my socials and everything else. This way we can get that up and running, because I can't wait to see this. I saw a snippet in the office at one point, and I was teary-eyed. Like I'm man enough to say it. I was struggling not to break down. It's tough. It's a tough one to watch. I can't even imagine. I'm gonna have to watch this with tissue boxes and stuff, because it's gonna be a rough go.
Yeah, I mean, because we're touching on all the deep, heavy stuff, right? We're touching on suicide. Chad's experience with that himself. Someone else who actually witnessed a suicide. Yeah. We're talking about domestic violence. We have military veteran Chad and another dealing with their combat stuff. Yeah. We have a firefighter dealing with the stuff he sees on a daily basis. Like, this is deep, heavy stuff, and we all experience that, and maybe not to that degree, but we struggle, and so we all deserve to heal.
Yeah, I'm gonna as long as everybody's okay with it, I'm gonna have all of the connections to your website also, and everything else this way in the description. If anybody does see this, if anybody needs any help, please, like I said, you got the crisis hotline here. We also have, if you go to AFSP.org, it's a suicide prevention. You can go on there, and then also there's the save.org, where it also helps people who have survived the loss of others, who the struggle actually got the better of them and they had to deal with the actual loss of somebody. And how do you survive after that? Well, the surviving aspect of it is or can be as painful as the suicide itself, and trying to deal with that and navigate, well, what's next? What do I do now? And how do I move forward from all this pain and emotion? So if you need to, there's avenues for that as well as the descriptions that I'm going to put in there, so you can link up with Dr. Sandy and with Chad if you need anything like that or anything else to that effect, because we want you to be happier. We want you to live a better life. I mean, that's what it's all about. We're here one time. Let's enjoy it the best we can and try and smile.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I can't think of a better thing to do than spread happiness and joy. Again, that's why I started this. That's why you guys are doing what you're doing. Like, we're all in the same community trying to do the same thing with different avenues. I love the fact that we collabed today and we got to get together and actually do this, so that hopefully it reaches the people that it needs to reach, and it just spreads the word. So if you know somebody who needs the help, please spread the word. Let them know there are other avenues outside of just the typical therapy where you have to go and talk to somebody. This is so much more about you and learning about what you can do to survive yourself and conquer the battle within. It's amazing. It's incredible. And that's what this show's about. It's about shedding light on stuff like this where you can have more moments in your life. So I don't know if there's much more to say outside of that, but I hope that everybody had a good time. I want to thank Dr. Sandy and Chad. Is there anything else any last words that you want to leave for wisdom?
Yeah, I mean, I'm honored. I'm grateful for you, Donnie, for what you do, because laughter is a beautiful medicine, right? We need that because there's a lot of heaviness in the world. Right. And, in my realm, I see a lot of heaviness on the regular. And so I need to laugh sometimes. And sometimes I don't have enough of that. So, you can help me in that realm, and
I will do my best.
Totally. But no, we all we're here. We all have a story, right? And as we share our story, we get to be a gift for someone, because then that allows them to then share their story. But we can only do that if we're open and we allow ourselves to share that vulnerability and that gift of who we are. So be the gift, share the gift, receive the gift, and just keep on giving.
All right. Chad, anything from you?
No, I mean, for all those people, I guess, on the fence, they've thought about it, right? They're looking over and they're curious about it. Do your research. And when I first started this journey, I went to several different ketamine clinics, and unfortunately, they did not hold the space that Sandy holds, and that's why I hold Sandy and InLIGHTen Wellness at a very high pedestal, because there is a difference to this stuff. And there's a lot of people that I hear even today that are, they'll go into the ketamine clinics and they'll get plugged in, and the curtain gets pulled and good luck. That was so there's a lot of this stuff I kind of did on my own until I met Sandy. So, anybody that is hurting, that has some thought process of like, man, I'm scared, I'm going to tell you, don't be, because once you go through it, you're going to be like, all right, get me back on the saddle. Let's do another round 2. Cause I want to shed this layer of BS I'm carrying around. So be open about it. Face the fears, man. Go into the storm and make a better life for yourself.
That's it. Well, I want to thank you both for coming on. I really, truly do appreciate you guys taking time out of your day. And like always, everybody stay healthy and have a great day. Thank you guys very much. I'll see you guys later.
Thank you.